All right, so let's talk about Max Sharopkov, quitting on his stool in his UFC debut last night against Austin Hubbard. So before I get into anything, first of all, Max, I apologize if I just butchered your name. People butcher my last name all the time, so we have that in common. But anyway, before I get into this, I just want to say, listen, I'm not a fighter. I'm a guy that grew up in martial arts. I'm a guy that's been training in martial arts on and off since I was 4 years old. But I've never competed. I've never made it to that level. There was a part of me when I was in my teenage years that thought I was going to be that guy, that thought I was, I had ambitions and dreams of fighting professionally, and it never happened. So I can't sit here and criticize a guy. I can't sit here and kick a man when he's down and criticize him without really ever being in his shoes. So I'm not going to do that. But what I will say is this. For the most part, mixed martial arts fans can be savages. They can be absolute savages at times. And I thought that the initial reaction from this kid basically quitting on his stool, I thought they were going to tear this kid apart online. I thought they were going to call him every name in the book, call him a pussy, call him a coward. I haven't seen a lot of that. What I have seen is a lot of positive reassurance, both from actual fighters and fans and journalists as well, and even from Dana White. So my opinion on the matter, first of all, if you don't know the situation, last night this young kid by the name of Max Rohskopf, again, I might be butchering his name, made his UFC debut. He took on a tough, more experienced fighter by the name of Austin Hubbard, and he took this fight on 5 days' notice. 5 days' notice against a guy who had almost twice as many fights, actually more than that. He had about 15 fights. Max had about 5. So the experience gap was there. But, this kid, Max, he's been kind of hyped up a little bit. His coach, Robert Drysdale, and his manager have been kind of hyping him up and saying, this is going to be the future UFC champion right here. This kid's the future. And he very well could be, by the way. We'll get into that. But, he was a hyped up young prospect, undefeated, pretty solid wrestler. And he goes in there, he tries to take Austin Hubbard down, can't bring him to the floor. Austin Hubbard is stuffing his takedowns. He's roughing him up on the feet. This is probably the first time, in Max's young career where he's getting lit up. He's getting hit, and he doesn't like it. And mix that in with the fact that his conditioning is probably not where it should have been because he took the fight on such a short amount of notice, 5 days notice for that matter. And he also had a pretty serious injury as well. So he probably shouldn't have took that fight. But, again, UFC debut, huge opportunity. How many would pass that up? So he jumped on the opportunity when he probably shouldn't have. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, he's getting roughed up for 2 rounds. And in between rounds, getting ready to go out there for the 3rd and final round, he tells his coach, Robert Drysdale, he goes, "Rob, call it. I'm done. Call it." Now, Robert Drysdale is getting a lot of heat for this. He's getting a lot of heat because he did not let his fighter quit. He basically told him, "Listen, man, you're a warrior. You're a champion. Go out there, clinch this guy, get on top of him. You can win this, Max. You can win this. This is your UFC debut. This is your opportunity. Seize the opportunity." And the whole time, Max didn't want to hear it. He's like, "No, I'm done. The whistle blows for the 3rd round. He's still sitting on a stool. Referee comes over, overhears the conversation, gets the doctor involved, and that's it. The fight is called off. And now Robert Drysdale is getting a lot of heat. Here's my opinion on that. Robert Drysdale is one of the greatest coaches. He's very underrated, by the way. One of the greatest coaches in the game. I've had the opportunity of interviewing him on several occasions back when I used to do my podcast years ago. One of the greatest minds in mixed martial arts. Very motivating guy. You guys have to understand, his job is to get his fighters mentally prepared, both physically and mentally, to get the job done. Now, I could understand if Max was getting mauled, if this was like, Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer or Glover Teixeira beating the ever-loving hell out of Anthony Smith, knocking his teeth out, and the coach is not calling it, I could understand giving Drysdale some flack for it. That was not the case. In my opinion, you had a kid in Max Rohskopf who gassed out, was getting lit up a little bit, didn't like it, realized he was not going to win that fight. His injury was catching up to him. and mentally he just broke down. I didn't see it as an absolute mauling. I didn't see this kid just getting destroyed. So a lot of people are saying, oh, Drysdale, the coaches, they should be, banned. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. If I was a professional fighter, I would want my coach to give me that positive reassurance. The coach knows, hey, the coach knows this. The coach, they know the potential of their fighters. In this situation, Robert Drysdale saw an opportunity, a window of opportunity. There's still 5 minutes. Here's a kid who has a lot of potential, young up-and-coming kid, a lot of raw talent. It's his UFC debut. Again, he's getting beat up, but he's not getting mauled. There's still 5 minutes. He still could have took the guy down and made something happen. So I don't think that the heat that Drysdale's getting is warranted. I think that's a little far-fetched. I could understand if it was like Anthony Smith getting his teeth knocked out. I do agree that to a certain extent, when coaches are seeing their athletes getting absolutely mauled, you got to throw that towel in. And there's no excuse for them to not do that. But at the end of the day, Drysdale was not the situation. So with that being said, that's my thoughts on the matter. I wish Max the best. I hope he makes a comeback. Hope he gets it back together. We'll see him again in the UFC. Hopefully he can get a couple wins on the regional scene and make a comeback. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on the matter.